Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Aspen Discovery webinar, User Experience. Today, Morgan will be leading us in the discussion of Aspen Discovery, and we're really excited to see everything happen. You can use the chat box or the Q&A to chat with us during this session. Bill Kessler, Cal Marquise, and Morgan and I will all be watching below. So if you have questions that come through, please let us know, and we'll pass it over to Morgan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessie. So welcome to Aspen Discovery User Experience. My name is Morgan, and I'm an implementation specialist on the Aspen Discovery team here at Bywater. And I really love what I do. Before Bywater, I worked in libraries for over 10 years, most recently as a youth services librarian. And so when I say that I'm excited about Aspen and I love teaching it to new libraries, it comes from a very real place from my experience of being a librarian and knowing what it's like to have, a great discovery layer, a good catalog experience for your users. So today, that's what we're going to be focusing on is your user's experience and all the ways that Aspen can help you get the most out of Aspen for your users. So before we dive in, we always like to revisit our goals. For Aspen Discovery, this drives pretty much everything we do as a team. And it all comes back to the users. So these goals help guide our decisions and help us think about the patron's point of view. Right? Sometimes when we're implementing Aspen Discovery, or us just as librarians, we start to really get into the details, and that's all great. But these goals, keeping them in mind, helps us bring the focus back to this experience is really for our users. They're the ones using Aspen Discovery primarily, and we want them to have the best experience. So first, we want to use Aspen to maximize the patron usage of all of your library materials. So this means that anything that you have, whether it's e-content or resources, things that your patrons may not know as much about, like those collections that you have that are special, but maybe not on the front of everyone's minds. So Aspen is a great tool to help them discover those materials. We also want to make sure that we're integrating completely with e-content providers, whether they're providing us MARC records or we have a direct connection to them. So Aspen is really just a one-stop shop for whether it's in your physical collection or it's coming from an e-content vendor. Number 3, I think, is one of the most important goals, is to make it easy for patrons to use. Aspen is super intuitive to use, and it just gets better and better all the time. And then, of course, we want to make it easy for library administrators and staff to use these tools in Aspen so that your patrons can benefit from your use of these tools. So without further ado, let's take a look at the user experience. And before I move on, I just want to make 100% sure. Can you see my screen that I'm sharing? Okay, good, because I've gone down that road before where I thought I was sharing and then it turns out I wasn't. So let me back out of this. And I'm going to take this over here. All right. So let's start our journey here on one of our library partners' catalogs. So I think I'm going to start with our partner in Wisconsin. So we have here Owen Public Library, and they're a part of the Wisconsin Valley Library System. And first off, for the user experience, they're going to start off on your Aspen landing page. Whether you're using Aspen as your entire website or not, you might have a different landing page, but this is the standard out of the box look for Aspen, where you have First, you have your search, and then you have your browse categories. This is going to be a really prominent feature on all Aspen catalogs. And I think it's great that right away your users see two of some of the most important things they're looking for. They're looking for how to search for specific things, and they're looking for ways to browse when they might not have something specific in mind and they just want to look.
Hey,
So,
and Morgan,
yeah.
we're not able to see the Aspen site, your example you're showing.
Oh no, okay.
It's still on your PowerPoint.
Oh, got it. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to do a new share and I'm going to make sure that it's the right thing. There we go. Now, all good. Okay,
Perfect.
good. Thank you for stopping and letting me know. I appreciate it. All right, so now you can see actually what I'm talking about. Their beautiful library discovery layer. I love that Aspen lets libraries customize Aspen to represent themselves and their communities. So I think this is a really great example of that. In addition, so here's those browse categories I was talking about. And I particularly love Owen Public Library's browse categories because they have a couple of special browse categories that they cycle in and make sure that there's fresh content. So you'll see right away that they have this beach reads browse category because during the summer months, there's a lot of patrons who are looking for something to take on road trips, on vacations, all that good stuff. And they have a permanent spot here called the Spotlight Collection. And they have it set up so that I think it's like 6 or 12 months in advance, they schedule their browse categories, the Spotlight Collection, to automatically rotate every month. So they're shining a spotlight on a new part of their collection. So this month is graphic novels, maybe another month it's large print or a library of things collection. So I think that's such a great way to just make sure that not one type of material is always at the front and they're rotating out. So your users get fresh content and new ways to explore. Let's take a look at another site here that I really like. Let's put that in here. This is Jackson County Library. And of course, they have a new items browse category, which is really popular way to, get the new stuff out in front of your patrons because a lot of your users are going to want new items. But I really love that they've featured Spanish language collection here as well. So they have it divided in subcategories for adults, for children, for teens. So it's really easy to click around and see, what is available based on the age group that I'm looking for. Another great thing for users is the New York Times bestsellers list. And kind of going back to our goals about how we like to make it easier for users and for staff, New York Times bestsellers lists are automatically created and updated by Aspen. Aspen checks every week and makes sure that those lists are updated. So you don't have to manually upkeep those lists at all. So it's making it easy for you to make it into a browse category. And then your users are reaping that benefit because they can come here and see what are the newest titles on the New York Times bestseller lists. And some lists, your staff might have to curate that, but that's okay because it's such a good idea to get awards lists, award winners in front of your patrons. Going back to how much I love Aspen, when I was a youth services librarian, I constantly wished that I had Aspen when I was a librarian, because having this readily at my disposal to show families, to show, patrons would be such a big help. Here are all the battle of the books that the kids around here are going to want to read. So I love that with browse categories, users can easily find what they're looking for, and you can get that out to them. And for users, it's really easy. Once they decide they want to look at a title or find out something more about it, all they need to do is just click on the cover image, and they can right away see what formats are available, and they can click either the title or more info to find more information about that. All right, so let me switch. I'm going to spend a little more time in this catalog. I wanted to feature them because they recently went live. This is Des Moines Public Library. They were a pleasure to work with. And I think their Aspen site looks really great. And also this is to highlight just how well you can customize Aspen for your library's brand and for your users' needs. So I won't spend much more time talking about the browse categories, and I want to get into some searches. So obviously you can browse with the browse categories, but what if you're looking for something more specific? So let me do a search. I'm going to search for truly devious. And you'll notice that as I'm typing this, it's going to give me some suggestions. So as a user, if I forgot how to spell the title or I'm not quite sure, it's going to give me some suggestions to try to point me in the right direction. But let's say that I go ahead and enter the search anyway, and it's still going to get me where I want to go. So this is a great help for users who are just typing really fast, or you know, we might not be the best spellers, but luckily Aspen can help us out. So this is a series I really love. But if I were to search for this, and so many times as a librarian, I would get asked, what's next in the series? Can you find me a list of everything in the series? This is great for parents who, you know, your kids just got into the Warriors or Wings of Fire, or if you're really into those long series by, you know, Patterson and Danielle Steele and all that. Right at a glance, you have all the information you need. So here is a series link. If I click on that, it's going to take me to a results page showing me all of the titles in this series. So I don't have to spend a lot of time searching, it's right there. And I could even print this page and have it for my own records if I wanted to do that. Let me back out. Another great thing for users is that when I searched for this title, it's bringing me straight to this title, and right at a glance, I can see all the formats that are available for this title. I don't have to go hunting through the search results and wondering like, where is the audiobook? I just want the audiobook. I can see everything they have available all together in this grouped work. And I can see whether it's available to check out, which it looks like it is. And it's even showing me, here are some of the locations where this is available right now on the shelf. So if I was there, or if I wanted to drive there, I could, but I could also check out the other copies or place a hold too. So I also want to point out that when I did a search for the title, I didn't need to do anything special to the search to make it work for me. The default search is searching by keyword in the library catalog, and chances are that's probably what the majority of your users are going to use, and we know that. You know, they're not trained librarians, I would say the majority of the time. So being able to just type something in and get to where they want to go is one of the best things about Aspen. Of course, if you are a power user or more, you know, advanced user, you do have options to narrow down your search more specifically. But the keyword search is going to get people where they want to go the vast majority of the time. If I want more information about a title, I can just click on that title. And again, it's going to show me all the different formats. And whenever you see this group of formats, you're also going to see this add to list button and the sharing icon so that you can share it on social media. So one of the other things that Aspen is really good at for users is allowing them to interact with the catalog. So sharing is a great way. If you see something that you want to recommend to a friend, you can click on the little email icon and send it out to them. The add to list button is also everywhere, so that if you see something that you want to save in a list for later, you can easily do so by clicking that add to list button. I also want to show you that if you're interested in read-alike authors, you can click on the author's name. So that's right above where that series link was. If I click on the author's name, that will take you out to a catalog search showing you all other items by that author in your collection. So you'll be able to get to those. And as a bonus, if you have novelist integration, it does you one better, and it puts this similar authors panel up here, which I think is so amazing because as librarians, you're constantly having to give readers advisory. You're on your feet all the time, having to do that. So you don't have to go out to an external site like Fantastic Fiction or to the novelist database. You have these little readers advisory tools right at your fingertips, just a couple clicks away. So another great thing that you can point out to users. But if I go back into that detailed record for Trivially Devious, when you scroll down, you have even more tools for users to use. There's also in this series here. So you can also find them that way. And in all Aspen instances, there's this more like this panel. This uses Aspen's algorithm, which involves subject headings and topics to recommend similar titles to the user. And you can just browse through these. And if you happen to be interested in one of them, you could just click on any of them to go out to that record and find more. So there's so many ways, and there's even more ways that I'm going to show you, ways for your users to discover other titles that they might be interested in. If you have paid content enrichment services, those will also show up in the detailed record too. Des Moines Public Library has Syndetics Unbound. We also can integrate with Content Cafe, so that shows up here as well. And you see even more novelist enrichment down here that your users can explore. All right, so let me go back up here. I'm going to go back to my search and I'm going to search for mysteries. This is a mystery series, so maybe I'm in a mysteries mood. Search for mysteries. Again, I'm just using the keyword search, but it's still getting me pretty much, to where I want to go. Of course, if I scroll down through the results, I notice that there is this Explore More section. So this is showing me some reading lists that the library staff have put together that are coming up based on my search for mysteries. So I could easily, click on any of those lists to see like, ooh, what are the read-alikes for Counterfeit? Ooh, I like this one. Watch Stranger Things and then read books that are, similar to Stranger Things. So yet even more ways to help your user out. All you have to do is put the list together, and then Aspen automatically puts these in the Explore More box for your patrons to discover. Of course, if just a keyword search isn't quite enough, your users can easily format to specific formats they're looking for, specific locations, all by using the facets along the side. And we have these handy icons up here that will help your patrons hone in on the most popular formats. So you could narrow it just to, mystery books. If I click on books, I could also limit it to items that are just available now, or only things that are available online by clicking any of these. Speaking of searches, Aspen also provides a really great way to promote your resources, your readers advisory, your events, while patrons are doing what they're going to be doing a lot, which is searching in the catalog. So for example, let me search for Spanish. Maybe I want to learn Spanish, look for a Spanish book. So if I search for Spanish, here we have above the search results is a placard. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can find some books about learning Spanish. But now I've learned about this free resource that the library offers that I can click on, and it takes me out to the Mango Languages website. So here's where you would log in for the Des Moines Public Library. So you can create a placard for anything and promote that to your patrons. As we all know, I know the struggle was, you have so many resources. We all know libraries are so much more than books. How do we tell everyone about all of these things? That's why I love placards so much, because like I said, they're already searching the catalog. So you can have specific phrases or words trigger certain placards that are relevant to their searches. So let me demo a couple more that I really love. I'm going to switch. Oh, before I move on, speaking of Spanish, I don't want to jump around too much. I do want to mention that Aspen lets users change the interface translation. So if I click up here on Spanish, it's going to change the interface translation for me. So you'll see all the facets and the buttons have changed. And in addition, we'll talk a little bit more about the user count in a second, but you do have the ability to set it in your user account. If you only ever want to see, like say, the Spanish language translation, while you're using Aspen, you can set that inside of your Aspen account so that whenever you're logged in, you don't have to keep switching the language over and over again. It just remembers it for you. So I really love that feature, and I wanted to make sure y'all knew about that for users. So let's quick hop over to Arlington. I'm gonna do, because I love their placards. They did some great read-alike placards. So if I'm searching for American Dirt, that's a really popular book. And so they have read-alikes for titles that have, longer holds lists. So they have a placard linking out to a list they've made that has read-alike titles for American Dirt, which I think is such a great use for placards. I'm going to go back to Des Moines Public Library though. And I'm going to search for Happy Go Lucky, because they also made some great read-alike placards. And this does have a waiting list right now. I'm going to switch it back to English for myself though, because fortunately I don't know Spanish. So there you go. If I click that, again, would take me out to a staff list that they created with read-alikes while you're waiting for Happy Go Lucky. But if I wanted Happy Go Lucky anyway, I could just hit place hold on here. It's going to ask me where I want to pick it up. So if that's fine, I can just leave it. I'm going to send my holds request. And after you place a hold, Aspen also suggests some titles while you're waiting. So it tells you at a glance what formats it's available in right here with the little green icons. And you could click on any of those if you're interested in them. But I just love all those different little ways that Aspen finds to recommend things to users. Speaking of recommendations, you may have noticed that underneath the cover images, there are these little stars. This is another great way for your patrons to interact with the Aspen catalog. So if it hasn't been rated before, it's going to be gray. Let me just do a blank search really quick here. So if other users have rated it, it's going to show up with these yellow stars. So you'll notice that other people have rated, where the crawdads sing. So if I click into that, you'll be able to see, okay, this many other people have rated it 5 stars. These people have rated it 4. If I want to rate it, I could. So maybe I'll give this, I don't know. I've never read it, but I'll just put it. I don't know how I've managed to not read it, but I have it. So there, I've rated it 3 stars. And now that rating has applied to my account. My ratings recommendations are probably going to look a little strange now, but let me show you where this manifests. If I go to my account, so if I click up here, go to my account, this is the account splash page. Now, based on your recommendations, Aspen is going to start populating this little cover flow down here. So it's mostly kids' books right now with the one odd book there, but the more titles you rate in Aspen, the smarter it becomes. So just keep that in mind. I see that here. If I go over to titles you rated, you can see a history of everything you've rated and titles you said that you didn't want recommended. So that's another way for patrons to interact with the catalog. If I click on recommended for you, that's going to give me the full view of that little cover flow we saw in the account summary. And from here, I have even more detailed information. And there's that don't recommend button in case I see something that I just don't like and don't want to see again. All of this continues to make Aspen smarter. So it's a super great way for patrons to interact with the catalog and to help them constantly generate more recommendations for themselves as they're just using the catalog. So speaking of other ways that they can discover new materials, let's check out these other parts of my account. So I have a couple things checked out right now, and Aspen makes it easy to see, what's overdue, when things are due. I can renew this title. There's lots of different ways to manage your titles within Aspen. But you also have a you might also like under here. So if I really liked Cat Me If You Can, I could click you might also like, and there's even more recommendations. It looks like it's overdue though, so I'm going to try to renew it. If it's eligible to renew, it should let me. It says, yay, I have renewals left. So with the click of a button, now my hold is renewed and I'm good to go. If I had any holds to pick up, which I don't yet, I just placed the one hold. I could manage this. I could freeze the hold. I could change the pickup location. Again, there's that while you wait. So I could see that in case I missed it the first time. And what's great about these pages is that I can see at a glance when my home library is open today. So if I did have holds ready to pick up, I could just right there, I see when their hours are open. So I know, oh, I can swing by after work, they'll still be open. I can pick up my hold. So Aspen does a really great job of getting the information that your users are going to want and need, and gives them the tools to manage their checkouts, their holds, and their recommendations on themselves.
So Morgan, we do have one question.
Yeah.
Notice the recommended for you, the lists, the saved searches. Can those be done as browse categories for the patron?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So absolutely. If you start adding things to lists, you can actually make a browse category that populates with the user's list when they're logged in. So they're seeing front and center when they go on the main page. They're seeing a browse category of their own list. So I think that that's super cool as a user to see the front page of the library. And it's like, ooh, there's all my stuff. I can browse through it. And likewise, if you're a staff member making lists, I had mentioned those lists earlier where, the read-alike list promoted with placards, you could turn that read-alike list into a browse category too as a staff member for your patrons. So there's a lot of different ways to help your users discover content.
Thanks. And they're able to hide? Is that what the hide button?
Oh, yeah. So if users decide, I don't know, as a youth librarian, this is strange to say, but maybe if I'm like, I don't want to see kids content ever again, this is just in my way, I could decide to hide this browse category. So if I click that hide button, it just takes it away. If I decide later, oh, kids aren't so bad, or maybe it was just a mistake, I can click show hidden browse categories here at the bottom, see what I've hidden, and I could reinstate those browse categories once again. Any
Perfect.
other questions today? All right. Well, I just want to thank you all for coming to this webinar. I hope you learned a little bit more about how to make the user experience better for your patrons. And we look forward to hearing from you if you have other questions. Oh, also, let me let me promote really quick. I'm gonna expand this screen. We have some upcoming webinars. These are all on our website, but we do have our next in August. That's about implementing Aspen Discovery. Cal and I will be presenting. If you want to learn more about the LIDA mobile experience, you should definitely check out Jordan's webinar in September. And if you have any staff or you yourself want to learn more about the Aspen basics, definitely check out Jesse's webinar in October. All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Morgan. This was wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.